Hello, and welcome to another episode of Battle Ready. Where today we thought we would talk about starting Age of Sigmar. Now, we've talked about that sometimes before.
Several.
I'm sure we've talked about it before. I'll see if I can, over there, link something.
All the buttons.
But we have a new edition.
We do?
4th edition. So if you didn't jump on in 3rd, maybe you were stymied by all the heroic actions and monstrous rampages and the different interactions, and you thought, got to get rid of this. Is 4th edition a good time? Now, is 4th edition a good time to learn for somebody who maybe has seen it before and decided, not for me? And is 4th edition a good time to learn for somebody who's knows sort of that Warhammer exists, but has never played a tabletop war game?
Yes.
All right, what do you think? Give me your answer for both.
So for the one where they don't really know that Warhammer even exists.
Okay, so somebody brand new to the hobby, has never painted a model.
Yep. Is that I would say it's good because the rules have been simplified dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
You have Spearhead.
Mm-hmm.
You can just pop a Spirit game in an hour. You have new looking models.
Mm-hmm.
You have good lore. You have big community of people.
You know, I think for somebody who's not
everybody,
somebody who hasn't really done wargaming at all, one of the things that I looked at first. So I've been a long time board gamer, played millions of board games, and sometimes, especially in asymmetrical games, and Warhammer is certainly asymmetrical, right? You know, it just so happens that one faction or one team or one is just stronger. It's just stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And so the game sort of takes on a thing of like, well, I'll take the weaker side, and then we all just know that it's going to be harder for me to win. And then if I do well, that's sort of like a victory.
Yeah,
right?
That's cool.
And so when I started looking at Warhammer, I looked at a bunch of different factions, and I thought, well, which one should I pick? Because I don't want to pick the weak one.
Yeah.
I want to pick one that's strong, and I want to pick one that's good. But the truth of it is, first of all, every faction,
super different.
They all go up and down.
Yep.
Right? Cruel Boys was the terrible for almost the entirety of 3rd edition.
Laughing stock of 3rd.
It was
or war clans in general.
Yeah, but Cruel Boys in particular was really, really bad. And now, at least initially in 4th edition,
they're really good.
They're doing pretty well.
We saw that in the game we just played.
So, if you get, and then there's other armies that were really, really good at one point in 3rd edition, and then they got hit by the Nerf bat, and then they weren't that good. And so it's like, well, you can't, if you just are chasing power level,
you'll never get there.
The game's not going to be fun.
You have to collect every
You're going to have to keep buying and buying and buying. Games Workshop will be happy.
Games Workshop will be quite happy.
But that's not really what it's about, right? What you should be looking for is an army that sort of speaks to you, speaks to the way that you play, where you like the models, you can spend a lot of time with them because you will.
I like to run it up and punch things.
And so you get that kind of army. And one of the best ways to do that is to look at how the army plays. Because if it plays in some armies are very straightforward.
Run up and punch.
Your ogres, you just always be charging.
No iron.
You find a way to charge.
Cooler.
I'm talking.
Okay.
It's okay. Your ogres, you just always find a way to charge. It's very straightforward. You run up and punch.
Yes.
Or maybe you're something like Tzeentch, where you want to play in the magic and you want to get a bunch of buffs, and based on those buffs, you want to play your army a certain way.
Yes.
Or maybe you're something where, like 2nd edition Nighthaunt, where you need bubbles around your heroes, and so you would
Star of Chain Rasps.
Drake would just put all the bubbles in one spot and make a mega Death Star.
Yes, it's a Death Star. It's a point and kill.
And so, depending on how you like to play, there's lots of armies that could be in those play styles. And in previous editions, it was sometimes hard to find out how the armies played. You could go online, and it's easy to go online and get somebody's like elevator pitch, one paragraph, here's how they play. But if you wanted to actually look at war scrolls, look at rules, look at battle traits,
you had to buy the stuff.
Well, there's places online you can get that info. There's places online. But yeah, otherwise you would have to go in and buy Battle Tome. That's a lot of investment to buy the Battle Tome, look through it all, and be like, oh, actually, I hate these guys.
Yeah.
Right? But right now, At least currently,
get the War Scrolls for free.
They put out indices, so every single faction, all their rules are available for free. You can look at their battle traits. You can look at their sub-factions or battle formations. You can look at artifacts, heroic traits, spells, war scrolls, everything. Right?
Yeah.
It's easy to get some stuff together and sort of play a mock game and be like, oh yeah, I guess I do like the Bone Reapers. Or, oh, actually, it turns out I hate the Flesh Eater Courts. I don't ever want to play these guys. And so it's really easy to look around and find the ones that speak to you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think for somebody that's new to Warhammer, to Age of Sigmar in particular, now is such a good time. It is such a good time.
You have Spearhead as your testing grounds.
That's another thing. So especially if whether you're new to tabletop wargaming or not, Spearhead is a fantastic introduction to Age of Sigmar, because Spearhead is basically the same. It's the core rules. It's the same rules as Age of Sigmar, but the war scrolls are tweaked and the different factions have unique faction abilities, and they're supposed to be balanced against each other. Maybe. I mean, we've played several games and the balance seems like it's there, but we haven't played every crap faction against every faction, right? So who knows? But the balance seems okay, and you only need to buy one box.
Yeah.
You only need to buy one box, paint up one box, one set of models, and you've got a whole game you can play. And the game is
fun.
Is good. It's not like Combat Patrol was, which had sort of a similar idea.
But it failed.
But then the game was basically just
Small,
40K.
But small.
And at that small amount, it didn't really jive. Like the game didn't work well at that small amount.
Second edition command points.
Whereas a Spearhead, they've made changes to the way the game plays so that it does work well at that small amount.
And so that you can play the same army and board, and you can get a different experience every time.
And it was just great, because if you want to, let's say you want to get to a 2,000 point game, because you want the big army experience. You start with your Spearhead, you play that for a while as you collect more stuff, and eventually you get a 2,000 point army, and boom, you're in the game. Or let's say all you want, you want to be in this world with the lightning wizards and the rat men and all this other stuff.
Orcs.
But you don't want paint enough to have 2,000 points. You don't want an army that big. That, spending 2.5, 3 hours playing an army game does not sound fun. Well, all you need is a small box filled with, 15 models, 20 models, which really works out to like 4 units, 5 units. So it's sort of like having 4 or 5 pieces. There's a lot of individual figures for each piece, right? So really you only have 4 or 5 pieces you're moving around the board, and that's great. And you're playing a good game. It's fun, and it allows you, if you're somebody like us that wants the variety, you can get. It's not so hard to get a box of Nurgle, but also a box of Ideneth, but also a box of Nighthaunt, right? And then you can have a little bit from everything. So I think right now is a fantastic time to start. Let me ask you this, though.
Ask me this.
In time, as nice as it is to have all the rules available and you can look out and see everything, they're going to come out with battle tomes. And when they come out with battle tomes, the indexes are void. And those battle tomes, I mean, they haven't said it, but obviously they're not going to be free.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not going to give you free rules.
Oh, yeah, no.
So
they'll give you maybe like tastes of rules.
Maybe, probably not, though. I mean, they didn't before, right? So once that happens and the rules are hidden, or at least the faction rules are hidden, is it still a good time to start?
That makes it harder.
It does. It makes it harder. I think right now is obviously the best time.
Do it now before they announce they're launching battle tomes.
But I think any time during 4th edition is probably, if you want to get into Age of Sigmar, is probably a good time. The core engine that runs the game is just solid. It's just good.
They kit bashed it with the old engine.
And so when it comes to faction rules, you might have to go on some sites, or you might have to rely on some of those elevator pitches and sort of feel things out, which is unfortunate.
Alleyway sites.
But yeah, it's still a good time to jump into the game because the rules are just very clear.
Do spearhead boxes come with Force Scrolls?
Probably not, because remember, most of them before they were spearhead boxes were Vanguard boxes.
Yeah.
And so that's before they even had spearhead. So I would guess, I don't know this for sure, but I would guess that no.
Yeah.
Especially because, but I do think.
What do you think?
I do think that the spearhead portion will remain free. So even if your Stormcast Battletome comes out, I think their spearhead rules will remain free. But the 2,000 point game, probably not.
Yeah.
But short version, I think, is if you want to get into Age of Sigmar, this is a really good time. Now, we said something similar in 3rd edition. We said 3rd edition was a good time. And I think it was.
Yeah.
It was fun.
But comparatively.
But I think 4th edition not only is going to give you about the same level of fun, but I think that the rule set is just easier to learn. And so getting into 4th edition is going to be an easier task
than getting into 3rd.
Than getting into 3rd was. Was it worth it to get into if you hadn't been in 2nd and it was like you either get to play Warhammer in 3rd or you have to learn through 3rd or nothing? Would it have been worth it to learn through 3rd?
Yes.
Of course.
Warhammer fun.
Warhammer's fun. But it definitely is easier now. So if you were put off at all by 3rd and you thought, oh man, the rule set's too much.
Do it in 4th now, please.
Well, I would strongly encourage you.
That's what Games Workshop would say.
Well, I'm sure. To take a look at 4th because it is better. I mean, it's just a better system. Final thoughts?
No, we did it all.
All right. This has been another episode of Battle Ready. Thanks so much for watching.